Bang! Neeves Knives. I'm Jared with my lovely wife Kara.
Hello.
And today we are checking out the Kubey Ku233. Let's get to it.
Let's do it.
Alright guys, first off, I want to give a huge shout out to our buddy Big Red for loaning us a couple knives, and you can find him on YouTube. He has a great YouTube channel with a lot of great knife content, and also you can find him on Instagram. Now you'll notice the size comparisons that I'm throwing up. These are all good size comparisons to the Kubey Ku232. And if you notice this knife right here, the PM2, we're using the Spyderco PM2 because one, it's a really good size comparison, but if you look at the blade geometry, they actually follow the same blade shape. This one, the Kubey, just has a little bit longer of a blade, but the actual edge is basically the same exact way. But this is a good size comparison. And then next up is the excuse me, the Benchmade Griptilian Large, also a very good size comparison. And then probably the best size comparison will be the Rat 1. These two are the exact same length, same blade length, same handle or size. It's just a really overall good size comparison. The Kubey is just a little bit thicker in the handle, so that would be more like the Griptilian, but it's the same blade shape or same size, overall size.
Alright guys, so before we start, I just wanted to let you know that this knife and the ones you saw in the size comparisons will be linked into Amazon. And a great thing about Kubey Knives here is that if you use our link, you will be dealing directly with them on Amazon. You'll be receiving your knife in just a few days because they do have USA-based warehouses. Alright
guys, I do really like this knife from Kubey. It's a very good, strong, well-built knife. And I think the more I talk about it, the more you'll see what I'm saying. It does have a stone wash finish that is D2, so you might have to take a little bit better care of it. It does have this beautifully shaped blade. It's more of like a drop point, but it does get pretty thin behind the edge at around 18 thousandths behind the edge. It's not a very thick blade shape. It does have a swedge up here. The tip is not really thin, but it is stabby for you to do anything you need to do with a tip. It's about the same thickness as a PM2, but it has a little bit more reinforcement right here, so it has a little bit of a stronger tip. The blade shape, or the blade on it, does have a good sharpening choil on it, so it's very nice to sharpen. I did sharpen this one and it's sharpened up very, very nicely. I do like Kubey's D2. Moving back to the handles now, the hardware on it is done extremely well. I love Kubey's hardware. For one, they put T8s all the way around. They don't mess around with them T6s. The only spot they put T6s is sometimes on a clip, and sometimes they don't even do that, but they did put some T6s on the clip. But other than that, there's only 3 places that you need hardware. That's the pivot and then the 2 T8s on the back portion. Now they do have it on 2 sides, so you can adjust the pivot on both sides, which a lot of people do like that. It does, if you do look at the hardware, you'll notice, because they do it in-house, it is very well done. It's very deep, and the way they do it, you can just tell by the machining that every time you put your T8 in there, it works very well and you don't have to worry about stripping them. Now the liners on there are very thick. They do have some weight relief put in there for you. Not very much, but they do have some weight relief.
you can see some cutouts in there.
You will notice that is a steel back spacer, so that adds a little bit more to the weight too. But it's a very strong design. When you do unlock the knife and you feel it when it's unlocked, let me just show this really quick. When you have it down here and you move it side to side, you notice there's, you know, in most knives I can move it or like push it towards the liners and you'll get some movement. Barely any movement out of this. It's very strong all the way around till it's locked up, and it's because of those thick liners. It does have ceramic ball bearings, which I do enjoy with this knife because it is self-lubricating ceramic bearings. And being a work knife, you might say you want phosphor bronze, but I disagree with that because it's D2 and you don't want moisture getting caught in between the pivot and getting stuck against D2. This way it has a nice airflow through it, and ceramic bearings are very, very strong. So you don't have to worry about anything, I think, with ceramic bearings. I think that's very well done. And you can always blow it out or whatever. Anyways,
so let's talk about these scales a little
Yeah.
bit here. We have G10 scales. They are very thick. This is definitely a no flex knife. You've got the texturing here and then a smooth patch here. Not only is that smooth patch nice, but it still has a little bit of grip, so you're not going to slip off, and it's a nice spot for your thumb and your pointer on the other side. It's very ergonomic. I didn't think so that it was going to be with this square shape, but it actually really, really is. Even with my small hands, I can still choke up and get a grip up here. Along with that, we have the pocket clip here, which I want to show you guys. So it kind of looks like a lot would stick out of your pocket, but when we put it in Jared's pocket, really only this little tiny part with the screws was sticking out. So even though it's not a standard deep carry, it does carry deeply. What else?
the straight back design.
Yeah, we like that straight back design.
I like the straight back design because it's really good for push cuts. When you do have it in hand, you can do really good push cuts, and it puts support across your whole palm so that it's not teetering back and forth. So that's very good for work. My hands are a little bigger, so I can't really choke up, but I can a little bit. You can rest your finger there, but it's really good in the pinch position, really good squeezing. When you squeeze it, there's absolutely no hot spots. I know she was just talking about the clip. The clip does go in and out of the pocket very well. It's a very good clip. It's not very pretty, but you don't really feel it in the hand too much, and it works, and that's what a clip's supposed to do.
So let's talk about lockup really quick. We have a decent lockup here. The lock bar itself has this nice chamfer that kind of meets up at a nice thin point. It is very easy to push over, and it's also got a very, very smooth closing action. So you are going to have to shake it shut. It is not going to be completely drop shutty, but it is a very smooth action. Plenty easy enough to do with one hand, any which way you do it. The opening action and the flipper tab is also equally as ergonomic. They have this jimping here, which suits the flipper tab enough. You don't need it much stronger than that.
It's not really sharp, but you don't really need it that sharp.
But because of the positioning of the flipper tab, you don't slip off. It's got a good positioning. You can do a push button if I could maybe do it. You can also do a light switch, and it's going to open up either way.
Let me do it really quick.
Yeah, go ahead and do the push button.
The push button, you have to kind of angle it down just a little bit, like that. And then you can do the, push button, and then the drop, and then the light switch, which both of them are very enjoyable. It does like the light switch just a little bit better. And then the drop on it, you see you can slap shut it very easily. You see it, because it does have a strong detent, but it's not strong where it hurts your finger. It's perfect, actually. And it's very enjoyable to fidget with, because this detent, you'll hear it. I guess you might be able to hear it, but it sucks in very strong. One more time. But yeah, it is fun to flick around and play. The detent ball is right here. So you see it's got the early detent ball where it makes it to where, right here?
A little lower.
Right here? Mm-hmm. Where when you unlock it, it lands right there. So you can easily, when you push through, it'll land on your finger. Now that works really good for opening and closing with one hand, because when you unlock it, it's not just messing around right there on the detent. It literally gets right there. You can push past it, hit your finger, bang, you can shut it. That makes it very good for one hand deployment and closing at the same time. Now the one complaint I do have is I wish they would have put a bigger stop pin on it, because this thing has such strong scales and the G10, and it's just an all around heavy, hard use work knife. You can just feel it. It should have had a bigger lock or stopping pin. Now, that being said, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. It's not too small or anything. I would have just liked to have seen a bigger one. You know, like I said, that being said, there's nothing wrong with it. It works perfectly fine. I'm sure there absolutely wouldn't have been no problems with it. And the lock, or the stop pin, or sorry, the lock bar, excuse me, is exactly where you want to see it. It's not really early, but it's right there early because it is a newer knife. So you want it to be kind of early, so through time it works its way over. So I like seeing that from a newer knife, nice and early, where it shows that it's not going to just work its way all the way across the tang of the blade.
We also have really good centering right out of the box. Well, we didn't get it out straight out of the box. We
this
borrowed it, but either way, regardless, it is very centered. And my overall opinion of the knife is that it's going to be something that's going to hold up through work. You can just feel it. This thing is strong. My only dislike about it is just that I personally wouldn't carry it due to its size. It is a large knife, and it is thick. It's
I love it, though.
Yeah.
I do love it. My only other complaint is that the jimping could be a little bit sharper.
Yeah.
But yeah, just showing you that lockup, it looks really good. And you see the top of the blade right there. But yeah, this is a very good knife. I absolutely love it. It's very comfortable in the hand. It's not an overly thick blade. It's nice and thin, good for slicing, good for work. Thank you guys for having us. Kubey Ku232, right?
Yep, 232.
232.
Thanks
Check
for
it out.
watching, guys.